Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners meeting March 23rd, 6 p.m. I call this meeting to order. If you all will stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sure will. I'd like to ask you to bow with me just for a few moments. Lord, we just come recognizing you always as the sovereign of the universe. Lord, we just ask that you would be here in our midst today. Help us make those decisions that would be becoming not only to your name, but would benefit Meriwether County and the citizens that are here. And Lord, as always, as we go into it, just give us the strength of our convictions. And please forgive us for the many ways that we fail you. In Christ Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. For those here, please make sure you put your phones on mute for the duration of the meeting. Move to item number 2 on the agenda, and that is to adopt the agenda. The original agenda that went out did not have 2 of the public hearings, so we will need to add those, even though tonight's does show that. So we'll need to add under public hearing item number 2, case number 12-2021, and item number 3, case number 14-2021. Are there any other additions or changes that need to be made to the agenda?
Well, we're going to move the airport authority.
Well, yeah, we don't have to change that, though. Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the changes to the agenda?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Next item, minutes from the March 10th, 2021, 9 a.m. regular meeting. Are there any changes? Rosalind.
There were a few minor changes within the comments, and I believe it had to do with capitalization and just a few changes.
Have you already given those?
That's already been taken care of.
All right. Hearing this with the changes given to our staff earlier on the minutes, do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 4, municipal comments. Mayor Glover, are you on? I see a 672. She'll catch up. I don't see any other cities. Carolyn with the chamber.
I have a comment under the zoning request, so I'll hold.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to the next item, constitutional officers. Sheriff Smith. All right, thank you very much.
I'd like to say a few things.
What's that?
I'd like to say a few things. This is Catherine Jenkins.
I was getting to you, Kat. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I wanted to let you know that even though all of you have voted to rather go through court action rather than talking.
Yeah, I think we need to keep these constitutional comments to your office, not to anything further outside of that. I think that's what the purpose of this is.
Well, Mr. Threadgill, I'd appreciate it if you'd let me finish.
It's Mr. Chairman, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, if you'd like to do that, what I'd like to say is that I would like to work with you as a board, and I need your help to get some things fixed in my office. So I really hope that you'll take the opportunity to give me a call if something comes up. I think all of you have my cell phone number. It's 470-347-4182. And I would be more than happy to talk to you about the issues that we're having. It's a shame that I never received any kind of communication before I got notice that you were seeking to get a court action, that you were bringing a court action against my office. But I wanted to make sure that you understand how this has not just been difficult for my office, for me personally, but it's been difficult for the staff. We have 7 staff members that work in the tax commissioner's office. And the actions of this board have made it very stressful for everyone in our office. And the clerks in my office, all the people that work there, they have a difficult job. Everyone there works hard, and it's a thankless job. I'm sure you all know no one likes paying taxes. No one likes coming in and paying fees, back taxes, any of that. It's a thankless job, but they do it, and they do work hard. But they're not perfect. No, none of us are. So I am working on getting our customer service up to a top notch, but it's not perfect. So I just ask for your patience with that, as we've had a lot of trying times. I believe you're all aware that we've also had the office closed for a week almost due to COVID. So we are back open, but there's some things that we're going to have as far as difficulties. And one of those difficulties is going to be getting the number of customers served. So right now we have we can have 3 people within our building, and that's it. Even though we have 5 clerks that can see people. So we're going to have these lines. But one thing I had mentioned before, and I don't think Mr. Gay had gotten back to me, is that we need an outside window, like a customer service window, so we can actually see more people in a timely manner. So I'm asking that the board, that you work to facilitate these kind of upgrades and changes. I don't know if you're aware of the condition of the windows throughout the building, but they're pretty bad. You can actually poke your finger through some of the rotten wood and reach the inside of the building, or the outside, depending on where you're standing. So these are some upgrades that really need to be made to this office. And I believe that the county has received funding through the CARES Act. So I'm hoping that because our office sees more customers than anybody else in the county by far, that we can get some money to make sure that we can keep our personnel safe. Because as I said, I'm sitting at home, I've got COVID, and I'm getting better, but it's going to take a few days. And we have sisters and daughters and mothers and aunts that work in our office, and all of them are concerned about their safety and that of their family safety. So I'd also ask that we can do what we can to get the COVID fogging done that was done previously. And if the county can't work with their schedule, then what we'd like to do is go ahead and order what we can to do the fogging ourselves, if that's necessary.
Well, Kat, I'll have to comment on that, because I do know that we were, ever since COVID back in March of 2020, we were fumigating or decontaminating the offices every morning prior to everybody coming in. Once you moved into your office and changed the locks, everything had to be around your schedule. At that point, you not one time have reached out to us to ask us to continue any type of decontamination process in your office. So the comments of us not doing that and causing COVID in your office, I just have to say is incorrect.
Well, Mr. Threadgill, let me tell you this.
Well, Mr. Gay speaking right now. Go ahead there.
Yeah, I was just saying that we go into the buildings beforehand or after the day is over, because you can't spray the material when people are there. That's alluded to in emails that we received from Ms. Jenkins, and we're going to have to find another procedure. Well, we can't do it. She even commented, well, I don't know what you're using, but it smells really strong. There's been no request from Public Works. We can't spray what we can't get into, and we can't get into the building without them letting us in. And we can't spray it with the people there. Same with the cleaning. And I received a call last week about spraying the building, and we had a special time set up at 4 o'clock to go down and spray. And we sprayed everything except for, I understand, Miss Jenkins' office, which was, she did not want the guys to spray. We'd be happy to spray every day. We just can't spray when people are there. And if people lock the door, lock us out, there's not anything, we can do about that. Right. And, it's just an ongoing issue. And the rest of the buildings certainly, has followed the COVID protocol in terms of having the building fogged, in terms of wearing the mask, et cetera. And to tax commissioner's office is not. We've had a lot of complaints from employees about them not following protocol and not wearing masks when they're down into the other areas of the building. So, and as far as the outside, Ms. Jenkins, you and I were going to talk about that at the meeting that, that I didn't see at, where we set up on a Friday. I think it was at 2 o'clock here a week before last. We were going to talk about that. If you need a payment window, we've got to figure out where to put it. Just knocking the front window out and putting it out there off the sidewalk may not be an option for us. But, we're happy to talk about that anytime you feel like that, you could meet with us.
Well, Mr. Gay, are you done? I don't want to interrupt you.
What was that, Kat?
I said, are you done, Mr. Gay? I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'll have to dispute a few things that you've said.
Okay.
We could get into this right now. I know you have a lot to do on your meeting, but I would ask that you would call me back. I have brought up this issue several times, and we can make some arrangements to get this taken care of. You don't have to have a key to my office to do this. And like I said, there's some options we can do, but I'd like to work with the county on this. But
we don't need a key to do that, but we do need someone to either unlock it so that when they are spraying, and understand, Kat, and I think anybody would, when you have maintenance going around every office every morning prior to someone opening, that is a set time so that any residue coming from that decontaminant has time to settle and is not in the air. The smell goes away in a timely manner when it's first done. So when those people are spraying every office in the building and they're not allowed to spray one, to come back, that means that whatever their other part of the day consisted of that is already scheduled to do maintenance is now interrupted on them. It's not that we were not spraying your office because we didn't want to spray it because we're whatever this is between you and us, as you all have said online, which there's really nothing there from us, but we have been spraying these offices without any issue until you took office.
well, Chairman Thurdigill, let me just ask that if you would like me to refer you to that as the chairman, then please refer to me as the tax commissioner. So, and again,
no, we can play childish games all day, Kat, but we're about to move on with our agenda. So if you would like to wrap your part up, we'll hear another 2 minutes and then we're moving on with the agenda.
All right. Well, I'll try to finish up what I have, but I did want to verify with the county that you've received CARES money. I believe it's in the amount of a couple $100,000. So I would like to make a note of that. I also understand that there's going to be about 4.7 million coming to the county through the CARES Act. So I hope that we can get some of those funds allocated to make the necessary changes to our buildings, such as adding a customer care window.
We'll be more than happy to check on the CARES money for you, but also while we're discussing money being received, we are 2 payments behind from you in your office at this point for receiving revenue to us. So can you please give us and the citizens of this county an explanation as to why and a deadline when you will have that to us? State law. Because you are behind on the according to a state law at this point.
Chairman Threadgill, are you familiar with the state law?
Yes, I am, and I don't need for you to quote that to me. I'm just stating to you that you are behind.
Does it say a specific date? I believe it says twice a month.
Every 2 weeks according to our ordinance. Right, every 2 weeks, the 15th and the 30th, every 2 weeks based on population.
The bi-monthly is based on population, that's correct.
Right, and it's bi-monthly, and we are 2 payments behind at this point.
and you will receive that soon. But I'll go ahead and continue with.
So can you tell me when? That was my question.
I've got the check signed, but I don't think you want me to bring those to you. As such, I'm COVID positive, but you will receive them in the next couple days.
Thank you very much.
Chapman COVID positive for 4 weeks.
I know. Yeah, when were you tested positive? Because these were the 15th and the 30th, so those are behind. So if you were just tested positive a week or so ago when you closed your office, then we should have received the checks prior to that. We can go on all day like this, but we're not going to. We can set up meetings between us and everybody, and you can have it publicly if that's what you'd like, Tax Commissioner Jenkins. But at this point, we're going to move forward and do the business of this county. So our next item on the agenda is for our department heads, and we will not be having that tonight. So we will move into, actually, we're going to move a item under new business. Can we mute everybody? Thank you. We'll be moving from new business item number 1, presentation by Airport Authority and Lead Edge Design on airport accomplishments, up to this area before public hearing. And we will ask Mike Watson, Phil, and Whitney Everly.
Yeah, mine is very, very short. We've had lots of activity out at the airport, mainly due to our fuel sales and our new fuel farm that's working. You don't know how great it is for people to call and say, we love your facility. This is a great little airport if they pass through here. With that in mind, I'll turn over the presentation to Lead Edge Design with Phil Everly and let him present what we need to do to go forward from this point on.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, as Mike said back now, if I could just comment on the airport authority, it's been a pleasure to work with them. They've come so far in the, in the development of the airport. It looks totally different than it was 5 or 6 years ago. Phil, we've been a big part of that too. But I just thank you guys at the airport. No problem.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Darren. We'll continue to bring you positive news about your airport. I'm Phil Everly with Lead Edge Design Group. We're going to show you a few things here. I'm not getting that. Here we go. We're going to call this. Let's see if I can get it back here. We're going to call it Meriwether County Airport moving up.
You will take that off.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, sir. All right, way better. My glasses aren't foggy now. So if you remember, we're very unique in our airport in the state of Georgia. So there's 103 airports in Georgia. We're one, but most of those airports were built in the 60s. There's some World War II airports. We're from 1932, May of 1932. That's really cool. It's unique. It has a draw that's way beyond the state of Georgia, and it's something that we can, utilize as kind of a branding item to draw forward. But we don't want to rely on past history. We can incorporate, modern, cool elements at the airport that draw people in, and the fact that we have that historical background just separates us in a positive way. So there's some articles that we have on that slide there. This video right here, we have looked for years for pictures or anything related to when the airport opened in 1932, and we finally found this a few weeks ago. Our dust control is way better than it was back then. So.
A little bit.
Yeah. There's Mike, I think. Mike's grandfather.
I was a student.
I was a student, but right, I didn't have the license yet. But that's unbelievable. We found that online, but it's really cool. You can't really make out, any angles or anything, but I mean, we've been around a long time. So that's pretty cool. So where we are today, we're 5,000 feet long. It's a great runway length that lets us get corporate traffic in. It lets us recreational traffic. It's terrific. We've got T hangars that are full, the blue hangars full, so we're maxed out on based aircraft. There's a waiting list to get in. We did $1 million safety improvement project with all the clearing, crack sealed the apron and marked it. Just a lot of cool stuff. So, I think y'all have seen the mural out there. Is again branding type thing. We're happy to participate in that. It's really cool. And if you even just looked at that picture, it looks like some kind of before or after, and for some workout program or something, kind of the dark, bland, and then like, look at the bright sunny. And if you don't know, that's actually Mike's Piper Cub sitting out there. So it's so cool. And we have heard so many things statewide about that mural and others that want to do it. And it's just fantastic. It also lets us, again, we hold events that utilize that for community events, utilize the grass in front. We have that flying in the fall with a car show with it. And it's just an opportunity to do community events there at the airport as well. For those who remember who didn't get pneumonia from the ribbon cutting, it was a really cool day. And that fuel farm has been phenomenal for us. And mentioned, I think at that open house and some other times we did a Rotary presentation on it. We were contacted by some folks at Peachtree City, for example. There's folks who are interested in how you got that and would like the same thing. So you're doing phenomenal. There's a number up there that is not a misprint, 1,100% increase in fuel sales. So you went from about 2,000 gallons a year to about 22,000 in about 10 months. So it's not even a year, and it's just phenomenal. It's bringing new people to the airport. There are people who want hangars, they want to be here, they feel the positive energy, they think you're a proponent of aviation, they see the mural, and they see a new fuel farm, and you're combining both modern conveniences with kind of a soul in your airport. It's really cool. So that was a great day. A wet day, but a great day. And just as a reference, every time I'm going to try to just use this as a little touchdown, the aircraft at the airport pay ad valorem. So as we add hangars and we add based aircraft, that's more ad valorem that comes into the account. Single engine piston, roughly, is about $500 to $2,000 a year. Twins, about $2,000 to $4,000 a year. Our runway length, we can take in small, mid-sized jets. So this is not large corporate jets. This is just small to mid-size. That's 15 to 150,000 a year in ad valorem as we set up for that. And we're looking for the next T hangar, 10-unit T hangar, and a couple box hangars that would allow folks like that to come in. Of the 103 airports in Georgia, this is a little snapshot of rankings. We're 62nd right now with 17 based aircraft of the 103. That's pretty good. We're two-thirds. We're past a third of all the airports in Georgia. As we add the second 10-unit T hangar, it leaps us from 17 base aircraft to 27, which pushes up to 39. That puts us in the top 40 of 103 airports. The boxes that we add with it, somebody could lease and put one plane in there, one large plane, or a couple of smaller ones. So when you add that in, we start to push up to get into the top 35. It's really amazing. It's all out of just health and demand and growth. It's not a you build it and they will come thing. They're demanding and they're ready, they're waiting and they want to be here. And they know if they don't get in line, they may not get a space. So it's a fantastic place to be. And then again, once in green, this is if you projected that forward, it shows this is 39. But you look at the airports that are around it, like Americus, Monroe, Waycross, you're higher than them. I mean, that's a big deal. So when you take your population base and you're outperforming others with a much larger population base, you're kind of punching above your weight, like we talked about. It's a really healthy, positive sign. And for us, again, we know something about all 103 airports. We work all over the state. The consistent leadership related to the airport, the airport authorities leadership, consistent leadership from the commissioners. You're not shortcutting anything. You are methodically doing the right things to put in place so you keep that brand. It's all sustainable and it's growing at a natural, organic rate. It's really cool. So we think about the airport tomorrow, like in the future. That historical brand, which we're already building out now, people understand it. The hangars are all full. So we're going to add hangars as it's appropriate. And then that facility is a focal point for community events. We do have that big area, grass area in the front. In the future, we'll be talking about coming back with a small terminal in there that has a flavor that nods to the historical element, but really serves it with bathrooms in there and a conference room, really helps support the community events that would be out there. For some of the aircraft groups, they would certainly like to fly, have fly-ins at the airport and come in and They pick a place across the country somewhere where they have an annual fly-in, and you change each year, and so we'll be a target for that. So pretty cool. And again, next May, May of 2022 is our 90th anniversary. We did that open house. We're talking about shuffle on that. It was originally intended to be in May, and we'll just do that kind of every year in May. You'll have the offsetting event that Trey does in October every year. There's just a lot of positive things going on in addition to just pure, fuel sales and things like that. So where you are now, the next grouping of projects, and with the positive results from the past projects we're getting, we see FA and DOT giving us more opportunities for things. So right now, we've been offered an AWAS, Automated Weather Observing System, which is a weather station. About maybe a little less than 50 of the 103 airports have that in Georgia. So again, you look at thinking about based aircraft moving into the top 50. This is a weather station that would allow pilots to tune in the frequency, gives them weather information, wind information, temperature, visibility, also gives them an altimeter setting. So if somebody flying to the airport now would use Noonan or Harris County, they have an AWAS. So this is a big deal for us. In the plan, that wasn't supposed to come until next year in the request. So they've accelerated a whole year of putting it on the table for us, and that is only because of all the positive. They know if they give us something, we'll do something positive with it, and they can feel that energy and all that. So it's really cool. AWAS, not as exciting as the AWAS, but we're going to do it. Is runway crack sealing marking. So that's something we do about every 5 years on the crack sealing. We'll do that. Remarking. The new marking has an old inhibitor in it, so it keeps the marking from discoloring. So that's a positive. And then our beacon tower, there's an FAA standard on how that needs to be painted with very specific color and all that. So they're offering us grant money to do that as well. So that'll be in line with FAA criteria. So some of those are kind of maintenancey, but again, people come to the airport, the beacon tower is painted. There's the AWAS is a big deal. The runway markings are fresh. It's just a lot of positive energy going on. So tonight, that's the main point that we want to ask. But there's a local match associated with all that grouping of projects. There's a handout in the package with that in there, but it's essentially about $300,000 total, $296 of the different matches of FAA share and state share that they're putting into the project. There's a local of 112,202. Part of that's a 3-year disadvantaged business enterprise plan, which is reimbursable in the next grant. So your total outlay is about 100 on 300. Is there anything there that I need to add to that?
Well, I think that just to re-emphasize what a great thing the AWAS system will do for the airport, and I think it'll continue to increase traffic and based aircraft as well.
I'm going to add something. This is not a guarantee. This lead edge is speaking. This isn't anything that's been guaranteed to Meriwether County. But as an example, Richard that does maintenance at the airport, he does some things for the planes with Auburn, and he communicated that they will only allow their planes to fly in for maintenance at airports that have an A1.
The local commitment, when would the board need to take action on that commitment?
As soon as possible. So there's we've offered, especially at AWACS, because we've been offered that. That's like a throw in this fiscal year. So that's.
You said it would be over 3 years.
The DBE plan is a 3-year DBE plan, but this is a match on projects that would go now. You effectively would be the outlay of the funds like that AWAS will take, and that's kind of one of that's half of this basically. That will take about a year because we're not replacing one. They have to do siding. There's a FCC license because it transmits. So there's an approval for that, and then getting the equipment, getting in. So if you take that 100,000, that outlay is probably maybe half in the next 6 months, and then the AWAS is kind of, in a way, it's like buying a refrigerator. It's kind of nothing, and then it's in. So you probably have 50 in the first 6 months, and then you have 50 in the, you know.
And
a
that
year
would
out,
allow
something
us
like
to
that.
spread it over 2 budget years
budget
this year,
years.
right?
I think while we're talking about this, I think the airport is absolutely a hidden jewel for our community. Most people do not realize what all goes on there. And I think it'd be interesting, you might not have the figures off the top of your head, but how much money has been spent there and how much the county has had to pay. And it's almost
A
nothing.
lot of other people's money, and I'll say
And I would
this.
say we've gotten grants and we've
Yes.
done some in-kind work, I know.
You-
And we fronted, you know, a little money for the farm, for the fuel farm, but then that was paid back to us, you know, so I think that's good for the citizens to know.
I'm sorry, and I'll add this is that FA money, that funding is paid in by aviation fuel tax. So when you get, so it's not, doesn't come from anywhere else. So when you get the FAA funding, that's paid in by fuel tax. Prior to you getting this fuel farm, your contribution for what you're getting, I mean, you're getting a way outsized portion of that. So you're doing a great job of kind of running with it and putting in place things that drive more, you know, you can use that FAA money to drive more ad valorem for you. For example, it comes in the county unencumbered, so you can use that for, you know, whatever you want to use it for.
Some of the projects actually have about a 90 to 95%. With us only having to cover about 5-10% of the
Yeah.
cost.
Dollar for, I mean, it's been a good bang for dollar for the county.
Right, and again, it's methodically just, you know, grinding away on that. The AWAS is something that's there's about 6 manufacturers across the country of that FAA approved equipment. In Georgia, they did a state contract, DOT did a state contract on those. So this is done under a state contract. So it's 75-25. There's not a way to change that ratio, but, and you're getting offered this a year early. So kind of as we come to you methodically with the 5-year CIP for billing all and plan everything, this has been offered up as kind of a gift a year early. So that's, you know, that's unique in here, but having that a year early drives, you know, guarantees those folks in the new hangars and more fuel sales and more revenue and all that.
Well, I mean, with the hangars being closed, people ride by, it just looks empty out there. But what people, like you said, don't know, those hangars are full and we have waiting lists for people wanting to rent those. And so, I mean, like I said, it's just something I think is good to make sure our citizens know.
Yeah, and I'll say this too is so, and we work at Noonan as well, but Falcon Aviation, there was a massive flight school, and so a lot of what you saw here was people coming over doing touch and goes from Falcon. They weren't buying fuel. Now when you go by, we see more traffic. It's people coming in all day long buying fuel from the new fuel farm. I went by there last week, was pulling in, somebody was taking off, obviously just got fuel. So the transient stuff is very high as well, and they see the airport, and they certainly get a sense kind of the soul of the airport is very inviting and very aviation enthusiastic, and it's just a really positive environment. So it's all you guys have made decision after decisions consistently to support that, making sure your dollars are getting, you know, maximum value on it. But you've been doing that for years. The airport authority's been doing that for years, and we can tell you, we certainly see places where it's that's not the case. And so just kudos to the commission and kudos to the airport authority.
Well, we listen to the advice. So
it's just really cool. And again,
I think it's something we'd like to figure out how we can do this. And like I said, we can do it over 2 budgets.
If the board is supportive of it, then, Bill and I, maybe could sit down and look at how we could,
Let me ask there, in the American Rescue Plan, there's a section in there that talks about airports.
Okay.
That's very, very preliminary, so I don't know.
Okay.
We won't know what.
Yeah, I'll throw this out too, is you got 13 grand that's coming to the airport with this year's version of, I'll turn to Whitney, Cressa, right?
Yeah.
So it's the CARES Act for this year for the airport, but it's 13 grand. That paperwork will be done. I'll say you may see that in 4 months or something, so you can put that to this as well as whatever else. That could probably go to the first half of it. So.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Always good to see you all.
Thank you.
Any commissioners have any comments? We will move to the next item, that is for public hearing. Item number 1, case number 11, 2021, for Sandra Tigner. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
Buster?
All three of us.
We're all doing this.
Motion carries. We are in public hearing at 6:34.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I wanted to just fill in tonight and go over this item with you guys again. The public hearing, of course, was continued, so we're still in a public hearing session. But at your February 23rd meeting, you heard a request for a special use permit for the four-wheeler dirt bike track on a 10.72 acre track off of Branch Heaton Road. And of course, as we already said, the public hearing was continued until tonight. This property is currently zoned RD, and per the Meriwether County zoning ordinance, this district is established as zoning category for medium density residential area to preserve the rural character of Meriwether County. And it was noted at February 23rd on the presentation that it had been looked at as a parks and recreation facility, therefore available with a special use permit unless it was located in the industrial or commercial zoning. So classifying it as a recreation park said, okay, you could have a special use permit. But on further review of this and looking at all the categories within our zoning, I don't think this type of use qualifies as parks and recreation. Think of parks and recreation, we think like Meriwether Park, we think of the park we're building up here. This is closer to another category, which is automobile or motor vehicle racing and racetrack. And that is only allowed if the new community is commercial or industrial zoning. So right now, really, to me, based upon this category, I do not see that there's a way to get that type of use into an RD zoning category. The reason those are restricted to neighborhood commercial or industrial is for the very reason that you guys were asking about. You know, the noise, the time, the liability issue with it, the disturbance to the neighbors. Another area that you guys asked about was crossing streets, and EPD, I think Butch contacted EPD on that, and the buffer requirements, as we mentioned that night, is a 25-foot undisturbed on each side. To cross the stream, they would have to have a bridge built at each crossing, and then they have to have some kind of barricade to prevent people from riding up and down the stream because, you know, people on ATVs want to do that. We also discussed parking, restrooms, liability, and the small size and width of the property proposed use. But to me, due to the incompatibility with allowable uses in the RD zoning category, you know, my recommendation would be, you know, denial on this. I don't know how the board could, you know, could offer a special use permit on a RD zoning category for something that is more akin to a motor vehicle track or racetrack than it is a recreation facility. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that the board has.
Did anyone sign up to speak?
No, but I don't know if anybody might be online. Is anybody here that wants to speak? I don't see anybody here.
Is there anyone online that wants to speak on this case number 11-2021? Okay. If so, unmute yourself and just state your name. Hearing none, do we have any comments from the commission?
Like Mr. Gates, we also need to.
Okay. Since this is a continued public hearing, do I have a motion to come out of public hearing?
Somebody.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We are out of public hearing at 6:39. Hearing the recommendations of Mr. Gay, what is the pleasure of the board?
Since this is my district, and while I respect Ms. Tigner's desire to provide recreation, I believe it'd be in the best interest of the board to take Mr. Gay's recommendation and to deny.
We have a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Request is denied.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Item number 2 under public hearing, case number 12-2021. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing? Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We are in public hearing for case number 12-2021 at 6:40.
That 12-2021 is in Commissioner Plant's district. So Ms. Deborah Brema is requesting rezoning of 6.96 acres from LDR to RD. Purpose of the rezoning is to split the current property to create a new 2 to 4 acre parcel to deed to a family member for construction of a residence. Property is located at 7697 LaGrange Highway, Greenville, and is known as map and parcel number 078-006. Existing nearby parcels include residential, agricultural, and commercial parcels consisting of less than 2 acres in size up to hundreds of acres. Newly created parcel will have access via a 30-foot perpetual deeded easement using the current driveway off of Grange Highway. No new driveways will be created. This property is consistent with the neighboring parcels and will not have an adverse effect on existing use of property values. It is a recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Department to approve this rezoning to RD. And Ms. Bremer is here.
Yeah, let me just show you. I have this to give copies of it. Should I do that?
They have some.
They have copies. Okay, I know I gave a copy last time, but I don't remember any of these people. So I don't remember seeing any of these people. So,
I've been here a long time.
okay, I'm Nate.
Thank you.
I'm Nate 18. I can't watch this. But I just thought they might want to see.
What was the recommendation?
Mr. Flynn was my original surveyor, and the reason I want to split it is because my husband passed away last year, and my daughter and her family would like to, so I'm trying to do that. So Mr. Flynn is the one that will do this if it's approved, and this is what he sent to me that could be done, that would, everything would be, I just say legal, I don't know. This is all new to me, so, and I don't even know what committee I'm here. I'm sorry I got here like a minute late. You are the Board of Commissioners. Okay, you are the Board of Commissioners. I was told you had to go to one more meeting and then the Board of Commissioners will see it. I'm glad to know what meeting I'm in. Thank you, because I didn't get an agenda. I'm thinking, okay, who are these people? Thank you. Everybody get a copy? Okay.
What was your recommendation?
To approve.
Okay.
Thank you.
I gotta get myself back together. All right. Thank you, Butch. Anyone else wanting to speak on this case? Anyone else on it? Anyone online wanting to speak on case number 12-2021? If so, unmute yourself and just state your name. Hearing none, do I have any commissioners have anything they want to say? Hearing none, do I have a motion to come out of public hearing?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Motion carries. We're out at 6:43. All right, hearing the recommendations, what is the pleasure of the board?
This is my district also, and Ms. Bremer, I certainly understand your request, and it would be my pleasure to make a recommendation to approve.
Thank you so much.
Rosie, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries and it's approved. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Glad to see all y'all.
Stay on with us if you like.
Thank you. So to see y'all again, I'll recognize you.
That's right. Have a good day. Where's Darren?
He's outside.
All right. Butch, are you doing the next one?
Yes.
All right. Move on to case number 14-2021. Under public hearing, do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? We are in public hearing for case number 14-2021 at 6:44 PM.
All right, this is in Commissioner McCoy's district. And Ms. Darlene McDaniel, the new owner of Riverside Inn building located at 29 River Cove Road, Woodbury, is requesting a rezoning on map and parcel 198-021-001 from A1 to NHC Neighborhood Commercial to open Riverside Country Store. This will offer convenience items, will include sale of live bait, tackle, kayak, and canoe rentals, and offer a shuttle service for the delivery and pickup of the river floats. Her business plan includes phasing and other uses. Phase 1 is the store. Phase 2 will be a restaurant offering indoor and outdoor dining to include lunch and dinner. Phase 3 will be a 2 to 3 year later plan with the possibility of rental cabins and shower facilities for guests and visitors that are floating the river. This will be a family-owned and operated business that will offer family atmosphere. Properties near this location include large timber parcels, personal residence, agricultural tracts with active farming, with a proximity to the launch area at the Flint River. This location is the venture will be the great service to locals and visitors enjoying the outdoor activities available. A definite draw for anyone who enjoys river activities with supplies located within feet of the water's edge. The improvement of this long-time vacant property and conveniences and activity it can offer to all will be a tremendous benefit to the area of Meriwether County. Planning and Zoning Department recommends approval of this rezoning to NHC. During the Planning Commission, I think Ms. Shane may still be on there, I don't know, but she was at the Planning Commission and she spoke in high regard to this rezoning. Mr. McCoy, Mike can add a little something to it too. It's the river.
Well, I think this is a good supplement for what we're attempting to do there with the river, with the canoe trail. And it really fits hand in glove. I think many of you may know last year we leased our 2 acres there at the river to the state. And they will be spending some money that we simply don't have. They'll be putting in a new boat landing. They will also be upgrading the area there. And we'll have, I believe it's roughly 23 miles. It's going to be involved with this canoe trail, and they're pretty close to center here. So that's going to be quite well for us and what's taking place with the Flint.
Applicant is sitting here.
So what's your recommendation?
Recommended approval.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone signed up to speak?
I would like to make a comment, please.
I can.
Well, come on.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Darlene McDaniel. I'm just a small town country girl. It's my son, Cody. He'll be running the store part. I'll be handling all the business part, of course, but he'll be the one there on site. When the restaurant gets open, of course, my husband and I will be the one that will be managing it and running it. He's looking for retirement. I'm not quite so ready to retire yet. And I said, you're going in the restaurant, I don't think you're ready to retire.
Right.
So, but it will be a family operated business. So we're excited about it. We have good plans, just hope that the community will support us. It'll be a good, clean, family oriented and ran. So right. I think we'll utilize that corner there and bring back some childhood memories. Maybe. So,
thank you.
And I appreciate your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Is there anyone online who would like to speak? If so, unmute yourself and just state your name.
Yes, my name is Carolyn McKinley. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to convey our strong support, and this is on behalf of our Meriwether Tourism Division, our strong support for this rezoning request. As Commissioner McCoy said, we've been working on our water trail and it's going to be finished before the end of June. And with the work that y'all have done with the DNR, we should have a new boat launch sometime thereafter. There's probably not anybody in Meriwether County that has not viewed this property going up and down the highway or accessing the river and saying, boy, I sure do wish someone would buy the Riverside Inn and put an outfitter there. So believe me, this is an answer to our prayers, and it's sort of like adding not just a layer to the top of the cake, but maybe 3 or 4 tiers with one of those sculpted canoes made out of icing right on the tip top. So I just want to say thank you, Ms. McDaniel, and please to the Board of Commissioners, I would respectfully request your approval of this rezoning request. It'll be a tremendous boost to our tourism efforts.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll. Anyone else online wanting to speak? Any commissioners? Hearing none, do I have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? We are out at 6:50. Hearing the recommendations, what is the pleasure of the board?
Since it's my district, I move that we go ahead and approve the rezone to NHC.
And that's an emotion.
That
Do I
is a
have a
motion.
second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries, it is approved. Thank you all. Yes, ma'am.
We're looking forward to it.
Yes, we are.
Forward to getting to know everyone in Marietta County, I know the surrounding counties, so we're gonna get to know y'all too. Okay?
Sounds good. Y'all be safe. Thank you.
Y'all have a great day.
See you, Cody.
All right, item number 8 on the agenda is unfinished business. Item number 1, appointment to the Recreation Advisory Board to fill an unexpired term representing the Board of Education. We have not yet received any recommendation from the Board of Education. So I'll actually make a motion to remove this from the agenda until we do have something back from the Board of Education. So that's in the form of a motion to remove until further. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 2, appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill an unexpired term that will end January 5th, 2022. Do we just need to table this?
Because we were going, to talk further about doing away with that, right?
We'll go see what we can do in the ordinances. It meets so infrequently that it's hard to get anybody to serve.
I mean, they haven't met in years.
Yes. So
Can we table it just until the next meeting?
I
and
would,
have a-
I would say let's just remove it until we have a discussion.
Well, that's what, we would table it and then have discussion to remove on the next meeting, maybe? Would they be ready?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'll have it done by then. What I would say is maybe table it till June, 1st of June.
Okay.
And that should give us time to look at ordinances. We got.
Well, let's
quite a
do-
few.
I'll make that in my motion. Table till June.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 9, new business. We've already done item number 1. Move to item number 2, confirm reappointment for Meriwether County Hospital Authority.
Chairman Commissioners, at the last meeting, we had, we brought up the hospital authority. We had 4 members that we asked you guys to just confirm the reappointment of. As it turns out, there were actually 5. We didn't have the 5th name. And so we actually have that tonight, and we would ask that he be reappointed as well. And if we could make that effective date, like retro to your last meeting, that way all of them will be on the same date and time in terms of their terms in service.
And who was that one?
Working on that. It was Dr. Lambert, yes.
Lambert.
So hearing that, do we have a motion to reappoint Dr. Lambert to the County Hospital Authority?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Sorry, I stumbled on that one.
Sorry.
Item number 3, confirm chairman's signature on the project agreement between Meriwether County IDA, KB Auto System Manufacturing America Incorporated, and Meriwether County Board of Commissioners.
And Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, of course, this was something we needed to go ahead and sign. It involves the closure of that property, and the property has closed now, and have been transferred to the IDA, and I think the funds from that have been paid back to Meriwether County.
So we don't need to take any.
No, just need to confirm it. Just vote to confirm it.
So have a motion to confirm.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 4, roadside spraying contract approval. Mr. Gay?
Chairman, Commissioners, we sent out bids on this. We received 3 bids back in, and low bid. Trying to, my paperwork is seemingly out of kilter tonight.
Kevin, you have the low bid, look out here somewhere. It's Kid Pro Service.
Yes, sir.
Low bid was Kid Pro Services. They are a very qualified firm, and we would recommend approval of.
Kid Pro, I have two, $75 for $41 for
Right, and we're starting with, we're gonna do round 2 and 3 this year.
All right.
And this is a budgeted program. It's a good thing. It cuts back on the high growing grass, the weeds on the shoulders. We're also doing some work on the dirt roads as well, and that allows us to be able to reduce our mowing frequency and cost. So it's a good program, but it works real well, and it is budgeted out.
Any commissioners have any statements, questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So
I
moved.
move to approve.
Have a motion, have a second? Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Y'all betting, 1 for 1. Item number 5, approval to purchase 2021 Dodge Ram SSV patrol package trucks for the sheriff's office.
Sheriff's here, yes.
I'll start off. We've got a couple of quotes in your package there, two Dodge dealerships. $27,000 change. State contract, this Ford is but their prices for their, I think it's Explorer package was about $35,000. F-150 police vehicle like the Dodge is also $35,000. You remember a couple of years ago, the board approved us to start a program. 5 vehicles from the county sheriff's office as well. And at the end of 3 years, it was $20. That would begin a rotating cycle, so we would be hit all the time. Chief Admin and Sheriff Smith decided they can't wait another year for those vehicles to be paid for. So they approached Terry and I about the possibility of buying 10 of those trucks and paying for it out of the SPLOST funds. And I'd like to add another wrinkle to that. With the American Rescue Plan, some of the recommendations that the National Association of County Commissioners are asking for is to be able to buy fire EMS public safety vehicles with those funds. I think Sheriff Ward's and trucks by March 31st. I think
We gotta get them ordered by, the first part of April. And we don't expect the delivery of that vehicle until the latter part of September, right at the end of this budget.
if you remember the last one we ordered, we expected in 6 months, it took over a year to get them.
Well, they don't build this vehicle, but we were told twice a year, but now we're told one time. And we will have to put the order in before April to have them delivered by the end of, or middle of, or end of September.
I mentioned that because we'll know by September when we get here before we're able to use those funds.
So we're looking roughly 280,000.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any additional SPLOST money available that we haven't already allocated?
We actually allocated dollars in the SPLOST for replacement vehicles.
Okay.
So if we can use that other money, we'd probably use it instead of the SPLOST though, wouldn't we?
But we did have the dollars allocated in SPLOST for
Okay.
emergency vehicle replacement.
That's all I have, unless you have something else here.
No, let me just say, back in 2013, when I took office, as some of you may remember, we got those 4 Tahoes. And here it is, obviously going into 2021, and these Tahoes are now reaching mileages of 198,000. Now, the Tahoes have performed well, they really have. And we've been able to save a lot of money as far as maintenance costs with those vehicles. But the reason we're looking at and continue to look at the Dodge pickup truck, that is a durable truck, is a 4-wheel drive, and that vehicle has been performing outstanding for us.
A lot cheaper.
And
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
The list price on that vehicle is $42,000, and we're getting that truck, whatever it was, 27. Yeah.
29,125.
And the road is the countryside, over in Jackson.
I think we got some there before. All right, anyone else? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the purchase 2021 Dodge Ram Truck 10 for the Sheriff's Department?
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. All right, item number 6, update and discussion for County Line Road project.
Mentioned this a little earlier, just briefly in our work session. This is a project that we've talked about for a long time. This is the small dirt road that runs from Coweta, borders Troup County, comes into the backside of the industrial park. We reached out to Georgia Road and Tollway Authority to see what assistance they might be able to find for us. And they came back and they offered a $100,000 grant, I think it was, and a $150,000 loan to the county to be able to look at this project. So we had made that submission. We had the engineers come out, take a look at it to give us an estimate of what it would cost, because we're not only talking about the replacement of the bridge and widen from 1 lane to 2 lane, but we're also talking about the paving and the grading and everything with the road itself. Looking at the estimate, we're going to probably be in the $800,000 to $1 million range, which is leaving us pretty short in terms of dollars. What I needed to see was just whether or not you guys are ready to commit and move forward with that, because we're going to have to come up with quite a sum of money to be able to do that project. And it does serve the backside of the industrial park. Has a lot of traffic that travels now back into Coweta and back into Troup. It's just a project that's very expensive. And I know that our needs are really great in terms of transportation. And before we spent $75,000+ on engineering, I wanted to be sure this is a project we want to do and not something we're just going to put on the shelf. And if you guys want to think about that, look at some of your priorities, we can certainly talk about it at a future meeting. I don't have to know exactly tonight, but here pretty soon we're going to need to make a decision to move forward or put that project on hold, whatever we need to do.
So we don't need to do anything tonight. We can just think about it.
Just if you guys could maybe be ready to discuss it and have it maybe next meeting.
Mr. Gage, just so I'm clear now, if we did it in stages, if we did the bridge replacement, what would the approximate cost be for just the bridge replacement? And the reason why it's been expressed to me that the emergency vehicles have strong concerns when they have to go over it, especially your fire trucks, if they have to go over it. Of course, I don't think they take that route, but there is a concern.
If I think a lot of your money, a lot of your engineering is going to go into the bridge, honestly. You've also got to deal with the fact there's a wetland mitigation project there. We're going to be dealing with that. You have to do your Corps of Engineers. So I would probably say that maybe 60% of the cost, and that's just a rough guess, might be related to the bridge and bridge replacement. And then from there, you're talking about being able to reduce the slope or build up the slope. Because if you're coming from the Coweta side, you come upon your own paved road and the road drops dramatically down. So you'd have to deal with that from a safety standpoint, widening the road. But I would say that probably the bridge component would probably be 60%. And I can try to run those figures through the engineers and see what they think if I'm close on that, but that would be my estimate.
We'll just set it aside for right now, right?
I'll have it on, we'll put it on the next agenda and you guys can, I'll try to get y'all some more information on what that cost might be and we can talk about it further.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, and that is engineering proposal for Greenville Recreation.
Okay, this is another project that we have received. Well, I say we received. We're in the final stages of a grant for this project. It's a $200,000 grant, and we have a $200,000 match. Plus, we have some in-kind service. In order to be able to move to the final stage of that, we're going to have to do some engineering. To this point, we've done everything in-house, but we're at a point where we just can't move forward with that. Toeverything has to be done by the end of April. So we've got a survey that's coming about. We've got some topo, probably through a LiDAR method to give us a couple foot contours. And I talked with an engineer who has done a lot of recreation projects recently, and they give me a cost estimate. I think you guys have it in there in your packet. The environmental and the geotech would be, one would be $3,500. The geotech would be $7,700. The balance of this, I think, could be spent after the award. We just need to get the paperwork in for the award. So you're looking at about $12,000 plus we got survey, which is going to probably be, I don't know, 5 or 6 on this project. Now, those are not dollars you can count toward the grant itself. You can't use that as part of our $200,000 contribution. I think if we got into approved with that, and then we went into the detail plans, which is the 31.3. At that point in time, we would need to, be able to spend those dollars. But I do think we can cover that as item 200.
So what are we looking at total on that part? 35?
Yeah, we're looking at total would be about 43.
On top of the 200,000 match.
That would be, I think you could take 31 of that off the $200,000. So you're looking at about $11,000, $12,000 on top of it, plus your survey.
Okay. Sorry, you probably said that. I just didn't listen.
What did you say the survey would be?
I just estimate, I haven't got a bill on it, but I would have estimated it to be $5,000 or $6,000 because we're going to have topo on that as well. We did not do ground run, but we're going to be able to do the just LiDAR and utilize that.
Why is it that this is not considered in kind or cannot be taken from the grant?
The way those grants are is, and it's a lot with GDOT projects as well. You can't, anything you spend and count toward the grant has to come after they've awarded you and give you a notice to proceed. So most of them will tell you if there's anything you do prior to notice to proceed, they're not going to cover that. And what this group has done is they've made it difficult. You've got to spend some money to even get to the place. And to this point, we've been able to do it in-house with, just our county staff. But when we start into the environmental and geotechnical, that's going to be more than, I'll be able to be a real call forward and be able to put together.
So if we don't do these, then we don't move through the final stage.
Our final stage will, no, we would not complete the final stage.
What do you see the total cost? We're looking at 200,000 grant, 200,000 match, and what is it going to cost us for that is not considered in kind? I mean, what are we looking at here? What's the total cost?
Yeah, I think we're looking at about $12,000 now in terms of studies, and the overall project estimate that we did was like $425,000. It was 200 from the county, 200 from the grant, and then 25,000 in terms of in-kind. And what I was hoping to do with the in-kind was to do some clearing and grubbing and get it down to look closer to elevation level. And then of course from there, the landscape, electrical, and civil, which I do think we could include in the two, is that'll provide some documents where we could go out and competitively bid this. That's something that the engineers would need to do that, you know, I just can't do.
Well, let me ask you this. If we would go through the final stages and all this is done, we receive the 200,000 and we put up the 200,000 match, who will oversee this project?
What we would do is with this engineering company, we would ask them to put together the bid specs, and then they would help us oversee the, you know, the building aspect of it. Mr. Welch, I worked with for a long time. He's a really good guy. He's easy to deal with. He'd be down here checking on it, signing off on everything, making sure everything was fine. And he will also do anything they can to reduce our cost on the on this, et cetera. In fact, I think somewhere in here, he said, we're working on preliminary drawings right now. We'll get those to you ASAP. He said, there's no charge to you if the project doesn't get funded. So, I mean, he's already willing to look at what we've got. I've given him the drawings that we did. So they're already working on it, and just said, hey, if you don't get it funded, that's just on us. But I think we'll get it if we get this data. But I do know that we got to move pretty quickly because I've got to do a historic study as well. That's got to be coming out of SHPO. And we've got to get that done, you know, very soon, because everything, all the documentation has to be done by April, end of April, last day. And this has been an unusual project. Usually they'll give you long periods of time. We've had a lot of times in this where we would have a conference call on Wednesday and say, well, all this is due by Friday.
It's been that way from the beginning.
It has. So I know Alice and I spent a lot of, you know, Friday afternoons just trying to get over and get everything done and over to the post office and get it posted. Yeah, we made the cut so far. So,
any questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Y'all waiting on me? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? We're tied. Okay.
What do we have? Did somebody?
Two for, 2 opposed.
So that's
Then what?
Yep, that's not approval, right? Yep. Okay. Do y'all want this to come back, or truly, if we come back mid-April, I don't know that I can get it done in that period of time.
So what's the hold back about doing it?
I don't know enough. I don't have I was not part of the process when it started.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So you have questions about it, or?
I just think that my biggest concern is the high school students not being able to use it.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we started looking at. This is like a land and water conservation grant. And when I talked to them in detail on it, they actually told me that not having the school system involved was a plus in our favor, because they did not want to use this type of funding to have an active, you know, recreation part. They were looking for more of a passive part. This particular design would have a grassy field that would be not be dedicated to anything, but could be used for whatever, like soccer or football or whatever. It would also have playgrounds on each end, or multiple playgrounds. It would have a restroom facility there on site. It would have a pavilion, and would have a walking trail, a nature trail. And it would also have a paved walking trail around the grassy area for ADA and people to walk.
How long ago did we all vote on this 200,000? Was it this year?
No, it wasn't this year. It was last year.
End of last year.
It was last year.
I think it was a 5-0 vote, wasn't it, to 200,000?
Because that's what we had talked about with the sale, you know, if we're going to do away with the ball fields, then whatever, you know, we sell with that, we would use that to get something started recreation wise. And, you know, so my point was to get something more centrally located instead of something up on the far end of the county.
You know, one of the things that we did with this, although it's not a baseball field, and when we laid it out such that the road entrance is on the right side of the property, and it could be continued and move it to property still owned by the county, and we could expand it in the future. We could still use park and still use the roadway, because only what we'd like to see is this roadway come in, loop around the school, and come back out on Roosevelt, and have a loop through there that would have a passive park, and then have a more active park as well, adjacent nearby. So,
Bathrooms too.
yeah, bathrooms, yes,
too.
bathrooms would be there. Paved, parking would be, would have ADA parking and, nature trails. And they had it originally designed to go by behind the jail and others. We didn't want that. That's why we moved up on McLaughlin Road and had the trail there.
So there's nothing we can do at this point.
No, stand in water.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, item report from Finance Director.
Mr. Chair, to the property tax schedule, the payment, since you've already addressed that earlier in the meeting. You got a report in front of you that, right now, and I've also included a report on SWAT, 2020 SWAT and E-SWAT. Look at that report. Our averages for SWAT that we took out over the last 8 or 9 months, we have gone up continually. We are budgeted, the county would get 90,000 money, and we're averaging 114,000.
On my report, I can't find it.
Which name got it?
Now, I got it, it's just in, but all these other mess of papers somewhere.
3 trees.
No,
Organized, right.
I stuck it inside something, I guess, I don't know. Thank you. I'll find it in a minute.
Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, found it. There we go, thank you.
Our total distribution over the life of the program is $6.5 million, which is $90,000 a month. So we're looking good there. T-SWAS is a little bit tighter due to the shorter amount of time that it goes on, but we're still grabbing right at 100,000. Budget amount is 92.
Actually, that's still about the
So above, maybe that restaurant opens up by the river, will go even more. But, unless you got any questions, that's all right. General fund still pretty strong.
Any commissioners?
Thanks, Dave.
All right, next item, report from County Administrator.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank y'all. Just want to let you know there's, in the city of Greenville, we actually have some car shows that have been scheduled for, really throughout the summer to the fall. I talked the other day with the organizers of this, and they asked about the courthouse. They're not actually going to be on any of the courthouse grounds. They're going to be on the sidewalks and in the parking area. And they have received, I told them you got to get GDOT approval since it's there. They haven't received that. So they're ready to move forward with those events. Now, I'm not saying somebody might climb up the wall and get on the grounds, but it's not something that they're renting from us or utilizing county property on. So I just want to let you guys know that those car shows, I'll send you out some information on that. Those will be coming. I wanted to give you all some feedback on something we heard last week. We talked about and heard some people speak of the fire department last week. And you guys heard a lot of information about long response times and one firefighter on scene. And I really wanted to give you guys the facts on that. This was a fire that happened on Kodiak Lane. The first call came in at 15:48:32. It was dispatched at 15:51:57, and we had a unit responded within 1.8 minutes, 1 minute 18 seconds. And the national standard is 2 minutes. Okay, we had responding volunteer from Station 3 in Lone Oak. We received a couple more calls, which the chief says usually you got a really big fire that's going, you go get multiple calls, people can see it from a distance. 15, 59, 47, we had responding Station 1. Stations continued to respond, and they did know that Destinale Station 16 arrived on the scene, reported was fully involved, and they were in a defensive operation at that point. We had 18 firefighters on site, okay? 6 of those, were volunteers, but they were trained volunteers. So the national standard is 15 firefighters on the fire scene. We had 18 on the fire scene. And when the units arrived, the chief says it was total loss, and most likely there was a total loss when the structure was called into 911. So I just want to let you guys know, oftentimes I know when you're out in an emergency situation, a minute seems like an hour, but I did want you guys to have the correct information on this. The response time was, well.
What time did we have a truck on the scene?
We actually had a truck on the scene before 16:04. It says that was when volunteer firefighter arrived on scene after E3. So E3 had already responded. E3 was, I think, coming out of Low Note.
Sometime about 12 minutes.
Right. And the issue was, well, what happened to Luttersville? Well, Luttersville, I think, was out on medical call. They run EMS as well out of that station. So we had the first one on call prior to 16:04. So you're talking 12 minutes, 13 minutes. And of course, 2 minutes later, we had Station 16, and they said it was fully involved at that point in time. So I just wanted to make sure that we got the facts out there. We hear so many things that we appreciate what our fire department does. They do a great job. They've come so far in such a short period of time, and we appreciate what they do. And so I wanted to bring you guys up on that issue. Mentioned already, we've already closed on the industrial park property. We have bids going out today or tomorrow's latest on the LeMig for this year. And we also have going out on Mount Pilgrim, Peaceful Lane, and Tuskegee Lane. Those bids are due April, I think it's the 23rd. So the last meeting you guys have in April, we will have those bids analyzed and ready for y'all's approval to move forward.
It's Peaceful
Lane, Tuskegee Lane, and Mount Pilgrim.
Mount Pilgrim.
Right. And let's see, Mr. Buster and I met with Waste Management here about, I guess it was last week. And we talked about some of the things that you guys have discussed with the litter blowing off the trucks. Couldn't find out that they have a tarpon regulation coming in. But once they leave, if the driver, says, well, I've swept it out and everything's clean, he doesn't have to tarp it anymore. And so what we're talking about doing to bring back to you guys is developing a tarpon ordinance that will require that to be tarped as it leaves the facility, just like it does prior to coming into the facility. And we'll work on that. The Allenton Fire Station, I got a call on that. That's not only serves as a fire station, but also serves as a voting precinct. It is the only available facility in that area. And we met the other day to talk about how to expand that station. It's one of those that we plan to remodel. And we think the only real option is to be able to go back away from the road. It's a pretty narrow piece of property, but we're going to be coming back to the board with some options on that here very soon. Mr. Buster, do you have any other thing you would add on those two items?
No, I thought that we got a good response when we were up there. They understood the problem, and they do still maintain their crews on Mondays and Fridays. There's an 8.2 mile area they go out and pick up.
Right.
And they seem to be very responsive to us when we started talking about the requirement of the tarp.
Right.
Because we've had several cases where people have reported the trucks leaving are the problem, not the trucks coming in.
Right.
I know they receive on Saturday. Do they receive on Sunday?
I don't think they do, but
I think they're close.
they receive all week long.
Right, the reason I was asking is if they're doing pickup on Friday and they only really get in on Saturday, there's not much to pick up on Monday if it's closed on Sunday. So if they would do Tuesday and Friday, we'd probably pick up that Saturday, Monday trash.
You're right about that. I didn't.
He did say if they have some downtimes, they'll go out.
Yes, I picked up.
We also talked to him there about a potential partnership, because we talked about setting up a disposal system in, further south in the county. And he seemed to be receptive to looking at working with us.
We need that desperately.
Yeah,
Oh, we need it desperately.
and we've got some ideas on how that needs to work and how it could work. So we'll definitely pursue that. But he was saying, sure, we'd love to be able to work with you on that. And I think it'd be a matter of having them supply maybe some roll-offs and agreement to pick
Well,
up.
we've already got several, I mean, I know they're willing to do it, but I've had several people within the county that own roll-off services that have reached out, and they have an interest in a transfer center down near Beth and I down there to do it. And they wanted to sit down with you and talk too. So whatever that cost is going to be, I think we need to speak to all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But we'll try to make that a priority to get that done. We talked about it for a while, and we do have a facility there that would be ideal, and it's just kind of sitting there. But I did want to let you guys know that Mr. Buster and I mentioned that to him, that they were receptive.
They were very receptive. As a matter of fact, any kind of recycle operation, you're gonna have to have a landfill involved, because that stuff is up and down. Some days they'll recycle, some days they won't. Then you're stuck with the residue. So that, you almost have to have that. The other thing about the Appleton Fire Station, I think that's a no-brainer. We just don't have enough land down there to do anything.
We don't.
As a
Without
matter of fact, if you really look at that land, we're sticking over with some of our stuff just a little bit on the other property.
I mean, it is almost a zero lot line on that, on the back of that building. And we're looking at, maybe, again, acquiring some of the property valuable to the county, but really wouldn't be valuable, I don't think, or to anyone else, because there's only about 100 foot of width. And then it goes into the railroad right away with a 30 foot drop off. And so we're hoping to be able to do something with that. It would make the remodel there a lot easier to work with. So we're looking at that. We do have I do want to let you guys know, we worked on it. It was kind of a little bit of a rushed effort. We did get the progress report into the paper this afternoon, and we appreciate Mr. Johnny's patience with us on that. I had reached out to the Georgia Trust about the bridge, and they're actually coming to meet with us at the covered bridge. And that'll be the 31st at 2:30. And we're just going to be at the bridge site to talk about. They were very interested in things that can be done and preservation. And they did say they had some dollars. They didn't know whether they could have enough funds to do everything, but they had some dollars to help us. So we'll be sending out some more information on that. And I guess the last thing I've got, and I hate to just keep being pounded to seem to be obsessed on this, but y'all know what a fan I am of Facebook and everything. I've never actually been on, but I find it interesting that tonight earlier we heard about not having paid the taxes. I mean, disbursement taxes started on the. I think we're owed for the 1st and the 15th, not done that. And I know they've dealt with some COVID issues in the last week. And I'm sorry for that. I hope everybody, is fine, and hope that works out well. What I find, unbelievable is that a state representative would get onto the Facebook and basically blame the county commissioners for that COVID outbreak. Now, number one, they're not the busiest office in the county. No. One of the reasons it look like they're the busiest is they don't seem to be efficiently waiting on people. That's why people are outside, but they're not the busiest office. And we're not trying to put the staff there at risk at all. We have provided everything. We've offered to go in. They called the other day and asked for us to come in and spray the disinfectant. we did it immediately. We said, "Well, you tell us when you're going to be there, we'd be there and done it." We did it at 4 o'clock that afternoon, which was probably after hours for our maintenance folks, but they went and did it. They asked for a desk yesterday. We delivered a desk yesterday. We've been very, very responsive, but they've not followed that same suit. I mean, they've not followed the protocol set out by the county. They will not let us in to do the spraying. Don't let us in to clean the building. And this is not stuff I'm making up. This is stuff that's all supported in this vast array of emails that we have here that we've received this year from that operation. Incredibly, distracting to us. We're dealing with the, open records, a lot of things right now that takes a lot of time, and a time when we have a lot going on. Now, it's also been said that all these agencies have been contacted us, and we've refused to meet. I don't know of anybody that's contacted me. I do know that we had maybe a brief conversation with ACCG just about what the heck was going on down there. I also talked to the state revenue commissioner again because he was told the phones were broken, we wouldn't fix them. Again, that's not correct, but I just find it appalling that a elected state representative would go onto Facebook now and make these accusations. I don't know about you guys, but not call me a single time about anything that's going on in this legislative session. Debbie Buckner has. And I did find it interesting that some of the things Debbie had put together were only attended by Debbie. And I appreciate all she does, for our community. And I'm hoping the other person will continue to represent us too. But it bothers me that they don't bother to find the facts. They also made a comment about just allowing development to run amok on the dirt roads. That's not true. If they would contact you guys, communicate with you, talk to you, they could find the truth out instead of getting on a social media page and trying to make a big issue of something that doesn't exist. You guys have done a great job managing the the COVID issue last year. I will say that y'all's office, our office, was impacted by that greatly. Bill's office, I don't think Bill and them missed a beat in all of that with paying the bills that we owe or making payroll or anything. You guys got all the minutes done. Throughout all that, we continued to operate. And it's just another excuse and push the blame off of somebody else. And I don't think you guys deserve that. You've done nothing but try to help. And I just think it's shameful that somebody would get on Facebook, of all things, and try to make you guys out to be the bad guys. So,
and I'll comment on it too, Theron, because we did put in place that mask mandated in all of our areas. And yes, the tax commissioner is a constitutional officer, but when you come into a county building, even though her office is in a county building, when you go into other parts that report under you, and we have put this in place, you wear a mask in that building. That has not been the case. Non-compliance with anything that the county has put in place.
And there are emails here supporting that, backing that up.
Right.
So anyway, I'm sorry you guys have to deal with this. Takes
well, we've never had to.
We ought to be and need to be working on the more important things, and they should be working on more important things too.
Well, Beth's been here, 11, 12 years? This is my 9th year. We have never.
2010.
Yeah, we have never had an issue with any constitutional.
All we want is to keep, trying to prevent us from doing our jobs. Right. And I'll get off my soapbox of that, but I do appreciate all you guys do. And
we appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you. Next item, report from County Commissioners. Commissioner Plant.
April the 17th, and we will have retire out of public work for that day. I don't have the times in front of me, but I think it's like 8 to 4. All
right.
Something like that.
And that's going to be at Public Works.
Correct. There will be more information coming out.
Anything
And
else?
of course, we encourage everybody to get out and pick up litter.
That it?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Hadley?
Just a reminder that Warm Springs will have their annual spring fling on April the 10th, so it's coming up really soon. It's been good response and all so far, so I hope folks will come out and support them. One thing, I was wondering if we could reach out to GDOT. I don't know who who the contact will be for this, but for many, many years, there has been a sign close to exit 41 noting the little White House. That'd be the exit for the little White House. And the sign I can't remember if it was a storm or something that came down, and last time I looked, the sign was still laying there on the ground over to the side. It's been down probably for almost 2 years. I'm wondering if we could reach out to them and ask them to get that sign back up.
Absolutely. I may get with Carolyn and see if we could do it through like, historic, program, but GDOT should be able to do that.
Like I said, last time I looked, it was still laying over there, and so if it could just be put up, a lot of people, that does direct people our way.
This is exit 41.
Yeah.
You know what it is in Moreland?
It is.
Yes, it was right before that.
I've seen the sign there.
So anything just to help direct people our way,
I'll look at that, see what we can get done.
All right, thank you.
That it? Buster?
I have nothing else from covered.
Yeah, I think all mine's been covered too, so I have nothing either. Report from county attorney.
I've got no report. We've already had executive session during the planning session.
All right. So next item is public comment. If there are any citizens that would like to speak, please unmute and just state your name one at a time, please. Pardon?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Could you state your name?
Yes, my name is Sue Ann.
Hey, Miss
And
Sue
first
Ann.
of all, I want to say good evening, Chairman Thurgood and the rest of the board members. Praying that y'all have been safe. And again, this is Sue Ann at 3398 Mount Pilgrim Road. I did hear Mr. Gay mention 3 roads. Mount Pilgrim was one of the roads. So I just wanted to make sure that everything was still in motion, to having the road, prepped and ready to pave next month. And I'm praying I get a good result.
Would you check back with us on I think it's April the 27th, and we should be able to have a recommendation or bid award for paving the roads, including the road unit, okay?
That's fine. I just want to make sure you didn't put me on the back burner.
Never forget you.
Y'all can't see me, just see my smile. I know. Okay, then I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Miss Sue Ann.
Okay, y'all have a good night.
You too. Be safe. Anyone else?
Okay, bye-bye.
My name is Mary Bray, and I would like to comment.
Okay.
I'm at 1202 Bray Drive, Greenville, Georgia. And listening to the meeting, I think it's a shame that the board as a whole did not vote to move forward with this grant opportunity. We have, as a county, we find money to put in everything else. And I think this will be a good advancement for the county to move forward. That was $200,000 grant money that we could have used along with other money. We have sold the baseball field in Grantville. We said that was going to go towards recreation also. And if we had combined all of that money, I think that would have been a great choice or a great movement to enhance the countywide recreation in Meriwether County. But yet we sit and put money in everything else, but we don't see fit for this. But I think the citizens of Meriwether County deserve better. And I especially hold my commissioner accountable for her vote, because this is totally crazy. I mean, why would you turn down this money? We said that we was going to enhance, we was going to do countywide recreation. Where is the funds going to come from? If we don't get it from grants, then where's the money going to come from? This is a shame, and the citizens need to speak up and speak out, because this does not make sense. For all these years I've been sitting here, the county has did jack to enhance the countywide recreation. And that's all I have to say, but we will hold you accountable for it.
All right. Anyone else?
Sean Tallman.
What was the last name?
Tall man.
Okay.
So
Your
my
address?
It was 305 Fifth Street in Manchester.
Okay.
I sold the property last year, back in February. However, I am receiving tax notices. The first time around, my wife and I were both told back in November to disregard the notice. However, I just received a delinquent tax notice. On it is a blurb regarding Georgia Law Code Section 4833, saying that this could be taken to court and a lien could be placed against any real or personal property that we own. We do not own that house anymore. The taxes for January and February, the 2 months of 2020 that we did own the house,
okay,
those taxes were taken out of the settlement money. I have paperwork proving that. I was told that the tax system, whatever tax system that is, would update in January 2021 to reflect the new owner. Apparently, this is not the case. And my big concern is if the new owners do not pay, my information is apparently in the system that hasn't been updated, despite the fact the house was sold multiple times. And actually, the system was updated because on the delinquent tax notice, my new address is on there, which is over 1,000 miles away from Manchester.
Okay. I think our county administrator wants to speak to you for just a moment.
Yes, sure, absolutely. Thank you very much.
To give me a call at our office in the morning and give me that information. I'll see what I can do to help you and look into the matter. Taxes generally follow the property and not the person, particularly real property. So if you'll contact me in the morning, I'll be more than happy to try to help you with the situation. Okay.
Sure. Thank you very much. Could I ask you for the phone number?
We can barely hear you.
Yeah.
706-672-3460.
Right.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
706-672-3462.
Thank you very much once again. I hope you all have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Any other?
Yes. Yes, I'd like to say a few things. This is Catherine Jenkins, the tax commissioner. And Mr. Tallman, let me just address that with you. So our office is the one who sends out the bills for taxes, property taxes. So I'm not sure why it wasn't updated. You said, I think February of last year was when you sold the property. So I don't know why that didn't happen, but we will make sure that gets fixed in our records. So if you can copy again, I'll give you, this is my cell number, and my cell number is 470-347-4182. And we'll try to get this thing straightened out. So I hope that'll clear things up for you.
If I could jump in, thank you very much. One other thing I forgot to bring up, also actually on the tax notice, there is the city of Manchester on the top left. The phone number is incorrect. I believe the phone number for the city of Manchester is like 3411 or something like that. However, it's listed as 3141 at the end. And apparently that belongs to a senior citizen who must be getting flooded with phone calls from people like myself.
Well, if it's from the city of Manchester, then it's not coming from our office.
I had called Manchester. They had informed me that Greenville had printed these out.
Huh. Well, we don't pick up we don't handle the property taxes for the city of Manchester. We just handle the property taxes for the county, in which that case there are taxes in the city that are also due to the county. So we will collect those, but we can get that straight with you, at least in our office, to make sure that you're not getting county tax notices. If it's the city of Manchester, then unfortunately, I hate saying, you need to call somebody else, but it sounds like that might be the issue there.
All right, thank you. Any other citizens?
Yeah, I'm still not finished. I actually wanted to.
About 45 seconds, Kat.
Okay. Well, I wanted to second what former Commissioner Mary Bray said, in that recreation for this county is something that's really lacking. I'm glad that we're moving forward with the water trail on the Flint River. But the fact that we also need recreation for the citizens, and that with the new growth that we have with the brake company coming in, we also don't have ball fields for the high school, for Greenville High School. And I think that's a shame that we've let this opportunity, this money slip through the hands because the counties failed to act on that. And I hope that you'll reconsider that and move forward with voting to get the work done that Mary Bray and many others have worked on. So that's what I'd like to say on that.
Right.
And
I'm
again,
not sure if you heard it or not, but the high school could not utilize those fields per the grant.
So you're saying that the high school would not have been able to use any fields?
That is correct.
That is correct.
That's what we were told. And I'd like to speak out because we were not able to use it for ball fields. I'm disappointed that we could not put ball fields behind the high school earlier on. So it's very valuable land. And had I heard the presentation, maybe I would have felt differently. But right now, I think the high school students deserve a baseball field.
All right.
I agree.
All right. Thank you, Kat. Any other citizens?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, this is Michael Robertson.
Okay.
I'm at 35 Harris.
Okay.
Hey, no, that grant that we were speaking of, in the beginning, we offered the high schools to come aboard and to help and put this grant together, and they refused based off things that happened in the past. For the record, and so we went forward with this trail and not just consider recreation. It was like Mr. Gates said, it was a passive. Going forward and with the other phases that we was looking at, it would be helpful for the recreation department for kids that's in the 8th on down, which is a majority over the high school. Others, the Board of Education, they're taking care of that as far as with the fields and the baseball fields and things that the high school can have. This grant and this opportunity has nothing to do with what the high school is in correlation with. It's a totally different grant, and this is for elders from kids. We stated in the proposal, which is one of the reasons why we had it, is
Michael, let me interrupt you for just a second. I don't know if you're too close or in a bad area, but you're
pre-K on for elders.
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me?
We can. I don't know if you were too close or just in a bad area.
Okay, I'm sorry. I might be in a bad area. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay, sorry about that. As I was stating, this grant, as we proposed to put something with the high school earlier in the year, and Mr. Gay can attest to that. Well, everybody on the board can attest to that, but they didn't want to, stating that for obvious reason in the past, and they're moving ahead and doing things their way. Losing out on this grant will not help the high schoolers, as they will have their own in the future for future plans. But what this will take away is no recreation for pre-K on up for elders that's in the county, that's in the center of the county or in Greenville, period. So I understand what you're saying, that it's taken away from high school, but they're taking care of their own matters. After they're taking care of their own matters, then what?
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other citizens? All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
No, it's citizens, I'd like to say something. I'm disappointed that that this did not pass for the recreation for that grant. And from the beginning, when the school system did not want to go in with us for whatever happened 100 years ago or whatever it was, my thought was that we didn't have to furnish anything for them anyway. We needed this for our citizens. And whatever the school system wants to do, whenever, however, is fine. So that was not a part of my idea of what we were doing anyway. If somebody could use it, I guess it would be great, but if they didn't want to participate and help, I felt like they were to the side anyway.
Right. And I will say, I thought it was a automatic go because we all passed with the 200,000.
I would say we'd already voted to put the money to it, so I don't understand.
All right.
why
Anyone
this
else?
isn't going.
All right. Hearing none, we do not have need for executive session. Future meetings will be April 14th, 2021 at 9 a.m. as well as April 27th at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second. Oh, I can't second. I'm
I'll second. Motion is second. All in favor? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.